He's off to a pretty good start for you, isn't he? I mean, statistically, it just looks like he's off the charts.
Yeah, he's gosh, says it not. He's doing well. 3 games into it, making some good decisions, making some explosive plays. We're just still a long ways to go. A lot to grow on. He sees that. I see that. We all see that, and production's there. But again, the competition changes. The things evolve. Things don't stay the same in this game, and you either get better or people beat you, one of the two. And so he's got to keep getting better, as do we.
Is it fundamentals? Is it technique?
It's a little bit of everything. I mean, it's just a growth process. I mean, he's seeing this offense into different looks. Seeing how we game plan each week, getting a feel for the game, our receivers, our O-line, getting in sync with everybody, decision making, play calls, why we call things, why we don't. So he's just it's new and it's not. And but he's handling it well. There's a lot of progress that's got to be made just across the board.
You got Lee Morris back involved on Saturday. Grant Carpentier had some catches. As an offense, are you constantly looking at who needs to be more involved? Is it because the defense is taking this away? I mean, how do you only got one ball to go around? How do you kind of manage that?
Yeah, sometimes it's just how many snaps you get. And we've had some explosive plays, so it's limited the snaps a little bit, and kind of like last year, in a way, in that sense. Probably the only time you'll hear me compare a year to another year, but so at least it's kind of been that way at this point. So not really. I mean, if we've got an outstanding player that's maybe not gotten enough, then we may try to force feed them some. But more often than not, we just we call the plays that we like, and sometimes the guy that you think might catch it catches it, and then we had a couple the other night that were not at all who we expected to catch it that caught it, and that's just the way it goes. And so the key is having depth where it stays competitive and multiple guys can make plays, and we're developing that.
Mayfield was great at keeping his eyes downfield, subtle movements to extend plays, and it looked like Hurts did exactly that on the one throw to Rambo. Did he get here with a more sophisticated passing game than you expected, or is it a work in progress right now even?
Well, he understands football.
And that's what I'm saying, Lincoln. Some guys get back there, get pressure, they freak out.
Yeah.
And some guys keep their eyes in place and do what they got to do to keep the play going.
Yeah, I think there's some sense of just calmness under fire and courage a little bit there. And then I think also you get down in those moments to how much do you really trust what you're doing, when that pocket starts to close down, or you feel a little bit of pressure. Do you trust your receivers to be open in the spot and trust that this guy's going to be there when he's supposed to, or do you not and get out early? And so I think there's something mental to it, but also just a trust factor. And Jalen's growing. He's had a good feel for when to leave, and the majority of times he's left, it's turned into explosive plays. And then he's also had several like the one you mentioned where he hung in there and delivered great throws. So trust level's getting higher, and I think the more he does that, the more comfortable he'll be sitting there.
Lincoln, given the risk of quarterback running that comes with it, is it ideal for your quarterback to be your leading rusher in this offense, or does that matter?
I think we just see how it plays out. It's such a small sample size right now, and he's had just several just straight up scrambles, that weren't quarterback runs that have gone when they first play the game, and that goes 50-something yards. And so, that's part of it. And then the other part is we've been able to play a bunch of backs. Those guys have not had to carry the ball 25 times a piece, not yet. And so those guys are all rushing the ball pretty well. But no, you don't want a quarterback to beat your guy at the end of the season. I doubt he will be for us. We've got some pretty good backs, and we're going to need those as we get into Big 12 and the later part of the season.
Because of the way that's played out, do you feel like your backs are maybe fresher than they have been early in the season?
They are fresh. I don't know it's been as much of Jalen's running, but just we've had 3 guys here so far that have been able to carry it and carry it well, and they know our offense, and we're able to use those guys interchangeably. And that's not going to happen. We're going to have games where all those guys have a lot more than 7 or 8 carries they've been getting. That's coming, and so. But no doubt, it certainly helps us. That was a position last year that at times we were hanging by a thread. I mean, there was times we're sitting there like, man, one more guy gets hurt, we may have to play an empty the whole game, you know, and I mean, some real conversations about that. I mean, I remember the Kansas game, Trey's out, and all of a sudden Kennedy's nicked up. I'm like, we don't have anybody left, and so recruited hard and developed hard, and it's good to have some bodies in there now.
Lincoln, it seems like you guys kind of know your order there at running back. But after watching all three of them, how close are those three when you add Ramondre into the mix?
Yeah, well, we don't really know an order or have an order. I mean, that's kind of how the carries have been divvied up. So, you know, I still think that, you know, the Sermon and Brooks are probably still 1A and 1B, but Ramondre's certainly gotten better, and we'll get TJ Pledger back here pretty soon, and he'll be, you know, he was playing extremely well before he was injured, and so I feel like we're going to have 4 pretty good players in that room. So, yeah, no, there's advantages to all of them right now. There's kind of an excitement when you get any of those 3 guys an opportunity.
You watched the film. How did the defensive line play?
Active, more violent. Thought we finished more plays in the backfield. I thought we were pretty gap sound from a defensive lineman standpoint. A couple times, linebackers got out of gaps a couple of times on a couple of big runs, but we played pretty stout up front. I mean, really, it was a strong game for our linebackers, especially, you know, some of the other guys not named Kenneth Murray. You know, it was Deshaun White. You know, Ryan Jones did some really good things. Asamoah did some good things. Brian Meade did some good things, and so it was good to see those guys play well. And I mean, certainly when your front's playing like that, it makes your job as a linebacker much easier.
Was there something that you saw out of Sutherland after that first game with the misses that kind of made you want to get him back out there?
Yeah.
Just the way you react.
It's, you know, field goals, drop passes, like that whole world to me is there's drops and then there's bad drops, you know, and there's misses and there's bad misses. And the way he hit the ball in the extra points, the way he hit the ball on the first long field goal, which I've told you guys how, you know, stupid that was on my part, but I knew he was hitting it well. He had one bad kick, and watching the way he's hit it in practice, his body language just had every bit of confidence. You know, Gabe's a heck of a second option there right now, no doubt about it. We have a lot of confidence if his opportunity comes up, but we never thought twice about changing Callum. He's performed well, and it was great to see him just nail those 2 the other night.
Coach, you were really excited about the H-backs coming into the season. How would you assess Jeremiah and Braden's performance so far?
Yeah, competitive. You know, they've been able to play a decent amount of snaps. They're both, you know, it's been a valuable first part of the season for them. I think they've learned a lot about how you got to play the position and all the things we asked that position to do. They've both made some explosive plays, and they both left a couple plays out there, both in the receiving and blocking game that we need them to get better at. But there's depth, there's competition. You know, we're able to kind of rotate those guys and keep them fresh, whereas in the past it was all Flowers or all Carson Meyer, and so it's a little bit better setup right now. So those are 2 guys you look at and say they need to take some major steps here throughout the year and become the players that we all think they can. But there's been some positive signs, but also need for competition and growth right now.
Did you
Lincoln, how
see
you-
a continued improvement on the offensive line as well?
Yeah, we were better. You know, again, we produced. We can play better. You can still tell at times that we're still young and figuring each other out, figuring the game out. At times we look like a really damn good offensive line. At times we don't still, and but certainly improvement. Guys playing steadier, less mistakes. A couple times on a few of the penalties that we put them in some tough positions, and so I think they're taking steps. Kind of like the H-backs, kind of like everybody else. There's positive signs, but there's a lot of growth that's going to have to happen there, and you know, we would expect nothing less.
Lincoln, how do you use the off week or